Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Wednesday, March 19th, North Middlesex Council meeting. At this time, roll call. We do have Councillor Nerda is joining us online, and Councillor Daigle sends his regrets. Disclosure of pecuniary interest. If you have any, please forward them through to our acting clerk tonight, Carolyn. Minutes of the previous meeting from March the 5th. Is there any errors or omissions or business arising? Seeing none, we need a motion. Councillor Irwin, seconded by Councillor Keogh. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. The next is delegation. We have Aqua come to visit with us tonight. Come on up. Oh, they're put you out there on your own, did they?
Thank you, Your Worship, municipal councillors, municipal staff for the opportunity to present to you tonight. We're going to talk about year-end 2024 operational reports for both water and wastewater systems. I have the LC Craig report in front of you, memo to council. It's my attempt at an executive summary, something a little bit different for you tonight. I'm looking forward to see what you guys think. If you like it, great. If you have some comments, please provide those to the Director of Infrastructure and Operations. Again, these reports are intended for you, for your information, and I'm just providing what I think that would be of your interest. So I'd like to start off with the LC Craig Wastewater Pollution Control Plant and Park Hill Lagoon systems. The purpose of these reports is to provide an overview of facilities and wastewater operations for the owner. And I started off with Aqua staff replaced the digester railing and pipe hangers due to life cycle replacement. We had the Trojan UV system supplier come out and perform a condition assessment on the current UV system. It is at its life cycle replacement and recommended upgrades. And one of the reasons why I felt that was important is because we are talking about future upgrades to this plant. So it's kind of getting ahead of the game and finding out what that system can currently provide and what the next steps would be when we look for an upgrade. Bartail Environmental Services was on site to haul biosolids from the storage tank, and that's that big blue tank at the site. A total of 1,232 cubic meters of biosolids was removed and land applied. Greaterio Inc. completed inspection of that same tank. We do have a report. Again, this is something that we look at. That tank is about 19 years old right now, so there is some deficiencies, minor ones, but we'll apply that to our capital forecasting to look at to get repaired in the years to come. Aqua staff performed an aeration cleanout. We also replaced the backwash pump guide and check valve. One of the reasons why I put this in here is because I do get quotes sometimes from outside contractors to help provide some services for us. Some of these quotes came in at $3,000 and up to and over $5,000. So I think it's a savings that we as Aqua, when we're under the operations agreement, that we can provide some of this work. It's a savings to you and to our residents when we can put that work under operations. The PLC processor faulted at the William Street Sewage Pumping Station, resulting in disabling plant automatic SCADA system and alarms. So that was something that we learned when we lost that PLC card. We lost all operations to that William Street Sewage Pumping Station, and that's the main sewage pumping station for the town of LC Craig. Fortunately, we were doing water service repairs on the same day, so we took that vac truck and we mobilized it at the William Street Sewage Pumping Station to haul out that raw sewage, haul it to the plant until we can get a PLC card reprogrammed to get that station back up and running. High velocity flushing and closed circuit television work was performed in the collection system. So Nairn and Park Hill was the final towns that we needed to get done as part of our 4-year program. And then we do have some recommendations moving forward. That was part of the major maintenance capital moving forward with that work. And Park Hill Lagoon South Cell, Aqua removed and installed a 12-inch knife valve. Again, that was quoted to be significant for us, but we were able to do one. And I know that we had another contractor come out and do the second one for us, but it was just more due to timing and availability for our staff. Capital projects, LC Craig wastewater pollution control plant, energy optimization. This is something that you guys should be familiar with. I've been talking a little bit about it. We had SEMA engineering, we had Aqua engineering. This is back to that HVAC variable frequency drive. We did make a proposal to the Director of Infrastructure and Operations. It is recommended some capital money be allocated to that project to help reduce hydro costs, specifically at this facility. Then we have LC Craig wastewater pollution control plant, William Street sewage pumping station design, working with our friends Dillon's Engineering. Our collection system infiltration inflow study that's currently still ongoing here for 2025. And the big one here for Park Hill Lagoon biosolid removal that we completed in 2024. The next phase, North Cell, in 2025. I'm open for any questions that anyone may have regarding wastewater.
Questions at this time? Councillor Irwin?
Thank you, Worship. Through you, and either to Aqua or to our Director of Infrastructure. Of the 4 capital projects listed here, do we have timelines in terms of start and completion of those?
With regard to the Park Hill Lagoon, we do have a site meet coming up here in a couple of weeks, but I believe the North Cell will be scheduled August of this year to complete the North Cell. I don't have a timeline specifically yet for the I&I. I know it's currently being working on here for LC Craig. So the wastewater treatment plant and the Welland Street is under design. I believe it's like 95% completion. So we're practically there. The next phases is all going to be based on capital approval at that point.
Okay, Sam? Sam, do you want to add to that? Sorry,
Yeah,
sorry.
Yep.
Through your worship to the council, just to add to what Rod through Aqua was saying, cart before the horse here, but the Elsa Craig Energy Optimization Project, that is a project that's currently carried in the budget for this year. So when that comes forward, you will see that proposed as part of 2025 works. The I&I study, it's our expectation that that is done and concluded this year. The consultant has suggested that they're going to start the dye testing and smoke testing that they have to do roughly May to June of this year. So permitting that that is on schedule, that study is supposed to be done by the end of this year. And the extra work that they have to do as far as testing goes is supposed to happen in the next couple of months. We have a site meeting for the lagoons on Monday next week with the contractor, RVA, ourselves, and Aqua to sort of talk through schedule of what's it going to look like for this year. When is our staff going to get out there to do what they need to do? And then when is the contractor going to get back to do those work? So we hope to have a firm date on when the dredging will be back as of next Monday. And then the engineering and design work, we can certainly talk about that as part of the funding report that I have in front of council tonight. That design sits at roughly 95 to 99% done. So it's theoretically done at this point. It's just a matter of through funding. If we do go for funding and it gets approved and how that works out, then that project could theoretically move forward at any point. And Mount Carmel, that project is tied to budget as well. So again, you'll see when that comes through. Engineering is currently on hold until budget does or doesn't get approved for the engineering to continue.
Follow up?
Just to follow up, Your Worship, thank you. Given the potential implications of the infiltration and inflow study to residents of the community, are we planning a communication strategy around this?
Through your worship to the councillor, I don't think we had thought about that yet, but we certainly can. I suspect that the I&I study will likely tell us things of projects that we do need to do. So when we know the schedule of when they're going to be doing smoke and dye testing, we'll certainly do education around that so people know what we're doing and it's not a surprise. And then whatever work comes out of that project, we'll certainly communicate as well.
Okay. Deputy Mayor Hodgins.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a quick question. When you talk the inspection of the sludge storage tank, you said it's 19 years old. First question, I guess, is there a lifeline on, a life cycle on that thing? Like, is it good for 50 years? And maybe a second part of that is, if it was, is it just one sludge tank that we have there? if it had to go down for any certain time, is there another backup plan to that?
Yeah, right now, when you talk to these suppliers, criteria, I'm sure they'll tell you that this tank is 50 years old and it'll last you, a great deal amount of time. One of the things that we're doing is we're inspecting this tank on a regular basis. So there's two types of inspections that we do. We test the anodes, which is like a cathartic type inspection. That's every 3 years. And then we inspect the entire tank itself. We do that every 5 years. So we maintain this tank to the best of our ability. And right now, the work at 19 years old is superficial. It's latches, it's bolts, it's scrapes and things like that. Very, very minor. If in fact that we ever do have to have a complete retrofit of that tank, one of the things that we do have at the plant is 2 digesters. So we do have some limited storage space, and we would come up with a contingency plan to take that tank offline and do whatever the type of repairs that we would do.
Question,
Okay.
with the growth headed that way between there and Elsa Craig coming forth, is that tank big enough for all that growth? Or is it case number one, it just may have to be cleaned out more often?
Yeah, so right now that tank, it would suffice. It's a 2,000 cubic meter tank. And right now we're hauling around that 1,200 to 1,300 cubic meters once a year. Right now we have 2 digesters at the back as well. We're only using one. So you do have some capacity there. And one of the things that we talked about with that William Street or Elsie Craig William Street design, that extra tank that was being built is going to be used as for storage for raw wastewater, but in the future can be used as a future biosolid tank as well. So it's going to have a dual purpose. So you're not just spending money like $1 million on a tank just for one purpose. It could be retrofitted to capture biosolids in the future.
Councillor Canellison.
Thank you, Mayor Rob. Rod, I'm interested in the energy optimization process that you're going through here. As you know, this is something we've been talking about for many, many years. And we've gone in different directions. What is the direction that we're looking at now?
So right now we've got variable frequency drives on the HVAC system. So the supply and exhaust fans, those fans are running at 100%. So we want to bring those down from 20 air exchanges down to 7. That's number one. The second thing we're going to be looking at is installing what we call heat pumps. So you got those big heaters that are on top of the roof right now. So the concept there is to say, you know what, we can't really do with anything of those right now. We can't really retrofit those. We're going to install new heat pumps down at the bottom floor, and we're just going to turn those HVAC or those heaters off essentially on the top. And that's going to save a significant amount of hydro use in the winter. That's our plan. That was a report that was given, and we're going to be seeking,
Okay, yeah, because those heaters, that's our biggest energy user there, and especially in the wintertime.
absolutely 100%.
Okay, and what kind of savings do you predict you foresee could happen? Will we be 50%?
It was significant. I wish I could remember those numbers, but maybe Sam can tell you what those numbers were.
Through your worship to the councillor, the numbers that we were communicated through Rod's and Aqua's engineering group, we spend roughly $40,000 a month on hydro.
Yep.
And they suspect the cost to come down roughly $25,000 to $30,000 a month if we do these upgrades. So that's certainly why we've chose to carry this in budget, obviously, is to get this done, and the project will pay for itself pretty
Thank
quickly.
you.
Okay. No, Councillor Keel.
Thank you, Mayor Rob. Rod, or Sam, is there any type of incentive or programs for energy efficiency audits in the municipal level for that kind of thing?
Go ahead.
Through your worship to the councillor, what we've talked about with the Aqua's engineering group, certainly when we go to tender this project, if it goes through budget, there are funding programs that we will apply for that theoretically could go against that cost. So yes.
No other questions this time?
Okay, with the North Middlesex distribution system, we have performed a total of 1,403 locates, 9 water main repairs, 12 water service repairs, 11 new water service meter pit installations. And out of that 50 total, we did about, say, 10 blow-off installations, and the rest equally split between service box and valve box repairs. Staff continued to work through both the third and fourth quarter on water loss program, which includes the recent installation of data loggers. We call them teleloggers is another word on all boundary meters. Acoustic listening on services, water valves and hydrants, pressure monitoring, and performing district metering areas within our system to help with our water loss. Capital projects, Elsie Craig, Queen Street, water main engineering and design. Again, we've got the last phase of that project that's going to be coming back in the spring. And with our drinking water quality management system update, we had no non-conformances and 5 opportunities for improvement. So the big one is that we had no non-conformances on our audit. Any questions regarding our North Middlesex distribution system?
Questions on that? Councillor Nelson.
I don't necessarily have a question, Rod. I just have a comment. Is this report going to replace the reports we've traditionally got?
We still do the other type of report, but yes, when I come to you tonight, this is what we're going to be looking at presenting, providing that we get approval and everything is
Well, I
to your
like it.
standard.
Thank you.
So,
I like it very much. Thank you. It's much
Thank you.
easier to comprehend.
Okay. Other questions, comments? Seeing none, I just wanted to be reminded on the Main Street engineering. So that was only engineered up to Main Street, correct? We just got to go from Main Street to Atkinson, I think it is.
That's correct, yes.
Okay. Do we have any idea how long the county will wait? Have we been in touch with the county, how long they'll wait to pave that stretch of Queen Street of Petty there? Because it's getting tough. There's some divots in there that are pretty good. So,
Yeah, to your worship, that's certainly nothing that I've heard, but I can happily ask and see what information they
Okay.
can give me.
okay. Because if it's going to be a couple of years, we might have to ask for them to do a little repair on a couple of spots, but okay. If there's no other questions at that time, so I think you're looking for a consensus from council, whether you like this type of report. And
that you want to see, I'm happy to put that in there. So,
Councillor Irwin,
Your worship, 2 years ago, I asked for an executive summary, given the reports we've seen in the past. So I'm very happy with this report and also with the report that our Director of Infrastructure will be presenting next. I think that gives us a good overview and it's much easier for the public to understand as well.
I agree with that part. Yes.
I'll give you a green light, Rod.
thank you very much.
Yeah, it sounds like that. Yeah, well, I don't know, maybe silver. We won't go to gold yet. Yeah, no, I think if there's no other questions at this time,
All right, thank you.
thank you. Councillor Irwin,
We not need a motion, your worship.
yeah, we need a motion to accept this report. Councillor
moved.
Irwin, Deputy Mayor Hodgins, all in favor? Okay, is your report right after this? No, yours is coming up later, isn't it? Is it? Why am I not seeing it? Okay. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Sam.
To the mayor and members of council, before you tonight and in conjunction with the delegation provided by Rod from Aqua is report DIO 12 of 2025 that presents Q4 information for both our water and wastewater systems for 2024. And as we discussed and will be the protocol going forward, Aqua and I will present system update information on a quarterly basis in this fashion and answer any questions anyone might have. So the proposed motions in the report to just align with the information that Rod presented there is that council receives the report DIO 12 of 2025 regarding the Q4 2024 North Middlesex Water and Wastewater Report for information, and that council receives the appended client operations reports, annual reports, and report to council summary documents prepared by the operating authority, Ontario Clean Water Agency.
Any questions for Sam on this? Go ahead, Councillor Nelson.
Thank you, Mayor Rob. Sam, and I don't know if you're up to snuff on this or not, but a few years ago, we undertook a design and build for a wastewater treatment plant in Park Hill. What is the status of that process?
Go ahead.
Through your worship to the counselor, I've actually been in contact with AECOM, who's the engineer doing the project. We have a meeting about it next week. They submitted to me what they are deeming as their final package for review a couple weeks ago. I went through it. I had quite a few comments, and so we're meeting next week to talk about it. I hope that after that meeting, we can hopefully finalize it, and then that will come back shortly after with the outcome of where it sits.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, we have a recommended motion in front of us. Counselor Irwin, Counselor Keo, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. All right, our next one is from Joanne. I think you have 3 reports in a row. But thank you. Thank you. Everyone. Just before you start on that, if you comment, I know you had a meeting with the surrounding drainage municipalities and stuff, and if you want to comment on that before you start your report.
Mayor and members of council, yesterday we hosted our first neighboring municipalities drainage superintendents and clerks, which included Adelaide Metcalfe, Warwick, Lambton Shores, Lucan Biddulph, and Strathroy Caradoc. We shared a lot of good ideas and thoughts. We had a fun fact, and of course, North Middlesex had the most municipal drains. I would like to thank Kristen Wilson for putting this together, and I would also like to thank our contractors and engineers that donated. They were Ardobin Engineering, Spreets Associates, C. Robinson Contracting, Robinson Farm Drainage, Harrington Excavating, McCann Ready Mix, Bruce Poland Trucking, JLH, Robert Robinson, and Wilmsey Drainage.
Well, yeah, I'd heard from different staff today how well that went. Yes, and that's a great move because there's so many of our drains, to your point, that it doesn't stop at our border. It goes on to our neighboring municipalities. And I think that's great to see any collaboration you can get together. And congratulations to you and Kristen. So go ahead with your first drain, and that is for the new municipal drain for Ken Valley Farms Limited and Martin Burgers.
Mayor and members of council, an original petition was submitted by Sylvan Acres Incorporated, and Spreets Associates was appointed as engineer to the project. After our on-site meeting, Ken Valley Farms Limited and Mr. Burkers have each individually submitted a petition for drainage by owners. Ken Valley Farms is requesting that the open ditch along Coldstream Road and the streams, which they have been maintaining, be included as the new municipal drain. And Mr. Burkers is requesting an outlet for his farm drainage. So the recommended motion is that council receive report DIO 13/2025 regarding the additional petitions for drainage works by owners for the new municipal drain, Ken Valley Farms and Martin Burkers for information. And that council receives the petition for drainage works by owners as an additional request on a new municipal drain according to Section 4 of the Drainage Act.
Any questions for Joanne on this? Seeing no questions, we have a motion in front of us. Moved by Deputy Mayor Hodgins, seconded by Councillor Nerda. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Our second one is the drain major improvement on the Scott drain.
Yep, Mayor and members of council, an original improvement request was submitted for the Scott Drain Branch B. Spreet Associates were appointed as engineer to the project, and after our on-site meeting, we had several requests to improve all of the branches on the Scott Drain. This request was previously accepted by council. So this report is to advise that staff has received a request for a culvert to be installed on the main drain of the Scott Drain. The recommended motion is that the council receive the report DIO 14 of 2025 regarding the additional request for drain major improvement on the Scott Drain for information, and that the council receive an additional notice of request for drain major improvement on the Scott Drain according to Section 78 1.1 of the Drainage Act.
Any questions? No questions? We have a recommendation in front of us. Councillor Keogh, Deputy Mayor Hodgins, all in favor? Carried. And your third one is the Colin Vogel's drain for major improvement?
Mayor and members of council, staff received a request for a drain major improvement on the Conlin Drain. After meeting with the landowner, this request will be changed to the Conlin Vogel's Drain. The Conlin Drain request will be canceled. RDOB and Engineering Incorporated was previously appointed as engineer to the project. So the recommended motion is that council receive report DIO 15/2025 regarding the request for drain major improvement for the Conlon Vogels drain for information. And that council receive the notice of request for drain major improvement on the Conlon Vogels drain according to section 78 1.1 of the Drainage Act.
Any questions for Joanne on this one? Seeing none, you have a recommendation in front of you. Mover, Deputy Mayor Hodgins, Councilor Keough, all in favor? Carried. Thanks. Thank you, Joanne. Did you have a question?
I do.
Councilor Canellison.
Thank you. Joanne, I just wanted to question, are you getting caught up all these drains? Because I know you got a ton of work. How's that working out? Are you getting caught up at all?
It certainly has been helpful having Glenn here. That's definitely been an asset. He's got everybody knows he has a good knowledge and he can push things along a lot faster. Yeah, it's
It's still busy.
it's still busy, yeah.
Okay, thank
Thanks.
you.
So I have a question for you just before you go, Joanne. You said we have the most municipal drains. How many municipal drains do we have? And they're not all up for improvement, but it
No,
feels like
thankfully
it,
not.
right? Okay, thank you. Thanks, Joanne. Our next business is a report from our infrastructure director, again, Sam, and that's on the Canada Housing Infrastructure Fund application.
To the mayor and members of council, and bear with me, this is a bit of a longer one. Before you tonight is report DIO 16 of 2025 that requests council's direction to proceed with finalization and submission of an application to the Canada Housing Infrastructure Fund program for works in Elsa Craig to the William Street Pumping Station, the force main in between it, and some minor works at the Elsa Craig wastewater treatment plant. More details on the application and included project itself are as follows. Dillon Consulting was previously engaged for the detailed design of the reconstruction of the pumping station, minor works at the wastewater treatment plant, and then connecting force main to be rebuilt in between. The design is entirely completed at this point. It sits at approximately 99%, so it's more or less tender ready. All the permits have been done. They've also been submitted. So the permit to the ABCA has been done and the permitting for the ministry is also done. So the project is more or less shelf ready at this point. Previous engineering reviews were also done that looked at alternatives or assessed impact on planned development in both Nairn and Elsa Craig and on existing surrounding sanitary systems, and noted that the project as designed was the best option for replacing the pumping station, replacing and upsizing the force main, and then doing some works at the wastewater treatment plant that we need to do to regulate the flows of increasing the pumping station size and pumps so we can pump higher flows and have increased capacity. So CHF through the direct delivery stream is what it's called, is a federal funding program that is administered by the Housing Infrastructure and Communities Canada, HICC. The program allocates up to $1 billion over 8 years for municipalities with populations under 30,000, which we qualify for. And it focuses on critical infrastructure, drinking water, wastewater, stormwater, and solid waste projects that support new housing densification, which again, we certainly align with. So the funding application that myself and county staff have prepared together certainly align with the CHIF priorities. So the expected outcomes of the projects and some of the things that we put in the funding application, should it move forward, is that we would increase sanitary capacity by approximately 800 new homes. We would certainly enhance the infrastructure by supporting projected population growth and getting rid of infrastructure that is either aging, requiring a lot of money from a life cycle perspective, or causing a lot of environmental concerns, again, with the aging infrastructure we have there, all the problems we have with it. And doing the project obviously certainly goes in line with the OP updates that we're doing with the county, strategic plan initiatives that we have, and growth initiatives we have as a municipality. So technical project specifics at a high level for the project are that the pumping station will get reconstructed, and have a larger wet well. It will have larger submissible pumps. It will have new control panel and SCADA system. It will have new valving and meter chambers, new power and backup generators. We will be reconstructing about 650 meters of force main that will be doubled in size. And then, like Rod mentioned previously, we'll be putting a new tank at the treatment plant that's partially for capacity and partially to take the increased flow that we'd be pumping if we did reconstruct the William Street pumping station. The financial considerations of the application and for the project are as follows. CHIF covers up to 50% of eligible costs. So all the costs that we've put in there and everything for the project are technically eligible. So the project currently cost estimated at just under $8 million. So the way that the application is being put forward is that CHIF, pardon me, if we got it, would give us $3,850,000 as 50%. And then we would have to come up with the other 50%. The good news with this funding program is that it is from the federal government and it's stackable, so we can stack it with other funding sources. And the way that I've set up the application is that it theoretically does not start costing big dollars until 2 years from now, which gives us some extra time to either A, find other funding sources if that's how we choose to cover our half, or B, come up with the money internally so we could do that. So over the first 2 years, we'd be roughly on the hook for about $150,000. And then the rest of the money is where it comes in the next couple of years after that. So I've worked with Middlesex County staff, primarily Abby, on this, just with all the OP work and the housing stuff that she's been doing. So between the two of us, the application has been put together. It's more or less done at this point. So notwithstanding through council tonight and with the motions that I have in front, we'll hopefully submit. And if we are awarded it, that's certainly what we would like to do. So the motions that I have in front of council tonight as part of this report are that council receives report DIO 16 of 2025 regarding the Canada Housing Infrastructure Fund application for information, and that council directs staff to proceed with an application to the Canada Housing Infrastructure Fund for funding for improvements to the William Street Pumping Station and Elsa Craig Wastewater Treatment Plant in Elsa Craig. And I'm happy to answer any questions if anyone has any.
Thank you, Sam. Carolyn.
I just wanted to make a couple comments. I just want to thank Sam for all his hard work on this project. I'm not sure that all of council are aware of how much work goes into these funding applications, but this one was excessive. It's a very significant fund with a large dollar value on it. And so they're expecting a lot. And Sam had the assistance of others, but primarily took the lead on this. And thank you to him for all of the hard work. I'm very positive on this one and hopeful that we will get approval for it, but in no small part will it be to Sam's initiative on this and hard work. So thank you, Sam.
Okay, questions? Councillor Nerda.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Sam, will you have time to complete this application if it's due on the 21st?
Through your worship to the council, the application is done. So assuming it goes through council tonight, I'll just have to review it one more time and it will be submitted immediately.
Okay, thank you, Sam.
Okay, other questions? Councillor Knellison and Councillor Keel.
Thank you, Mayor Rob. Sam, in the event that we're not successful and this project cannot proceed, what impact would that have on those developments that we're looking at?
Through your worship to the councillor, effectively for anything that's not largely allocated at this point, we will be facing wastewater constraints of some kind. So for a lot of the development that's currently tabled to proceed, this project would have to move forward in some capacity, and it's largely tied to funding, unfortunately, due to how expensive it is.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Councillor Keel. Same question?
What's the same question?
Okay, all right. Is there any other questions? We have a motion in front of us. What's your wish?
I'd like to move it, your worship.
Moved by Councillor Irwin, seconded by Councillor Nerda. All in favor? Carried. Thanks, Sam. Next one is a report from our Director of Finance, and that's the council remuneration.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Actually, I'm going to adjust that and say this is coming from the Deputy Treasurer. I'm not going to steal her efforts on this and making sure that we do your annual sunshine report.
We're not quite over the limit.
Since you folks don't fall into the category that would put you in the sunshine report, they've added this requirement into the municipal act to make sure that, you know, there's transparency on what councillors receive. And, you know, all levity aside, this is just an annual report that has to be submitted just so that the public can keep an eye on what you're up to.
Any questions? Councillor Knellison.
Thank you, Mayor Rob. Ralph, my question for you, and looking at this slide here, I see that the extended health benefits vary significantly from one to another, from a low of 2,733 to a high of 6,740. How does that come to pass?
It depends on what that counselor has taken in terms of the benefits, whether it's a family or a single situation, whether it's both extended health and dental. It's a number of different factors. Also, dare I say, age will play into that as well. So there are a number of different things that drive that. And you'll notice that a number of the counselors have elected not to take it at all.
Well, some of us were age exempt. Thank you very much.
You're just throwing yourself a shot there. You know that. Okay, any other questions? All right, we have a report in front of us. We have a motion in front of us. What's your wish? Moved by Councilor Canelson, seconded by Deputy Mayor Hodgins. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Our next report is from the Director of Economic Development, and that is Canada Day update. Brandon.
Mayor Robb, members of council, as many of you know, we do have an annual Canada Day fireworks event that happens at our Ken Vernon Park. Unfortunately, we received notice this year that the Canada Day committee would be folding, citing volunteer burnout for the reason why. We approached multiple user groups and service clubs, seeing if anyone was interested in picking this up and running it. What we received back as staff were groups interested in running certain parts, say the Parkhill Lions and the Parkhill Optimists, not wanting to take on the whole event, but were willing to kick in and make the event happen. Staff's proposal here would be that we take this on in-house as North Middlesex and then utilize the service clubs to take on different parts of the event in terms of actual human resources of it. With that, typically we would spend money through the Canada or through the Community Development Fund for fireworks. We would use Vibrancy to put money aside to pay for the fireworks. Since we have missed that deadline, what I'm proposing is that we pay for the fireworks now. The other part of it is the group who's annually done it on June 30th needs to have some type of agreement signed in order to secure that event. So staff's proposal is that council direct us to hold the Canada Day event and that we are directed to purchase the fireworks display from K&H Fireworks. And that's the pyrotech who annually does them. So the event would be on June 30th. And then the remainder of the budget will be allocated through our budget deliberations. So.
Okay, questions? Councilor Irwin.
To you, your worship. I know the director of Economic Development and Community Services has been seeking another community group to take this on unsuccessfully. But I'm wondering if we approve this for 1 year, if during that year we can continue the search for a reliable community group to pick this up in future.
Yes, through the mayor to the councillor, certainly that's an option. If it goes well and it doesn't take too much staff resources, the other thing we may see is sponsors come out, which I'm hoping to see help take the cost burden off of this. And then if we've got multiple groups and it seems to be a successful coming together of community groups to celebrate our country, I also see that as a big win as well. So.
Okay, Carolyn.
If I could just make an addition to the motion that council has in front of them based on the report, that the source of the funding be determined during the 2025 budget deliberations, as there is some different options for the funding. It was suggested during discussions today, actually between staff and some members of council, that we do have a reserve that could be utilized for it. It could go on the levy, and that could potentially be considered under vibrancy. So rather than to deliberate that tonight, I would suggest putting that over to our budget discussions, just so council is aware. We've met as a budget committee already, and the amount of the ask tonight was included in the draft budget.
Okay, so tonight what we're really looking for is a permission to go forward to purchase, and then how we
Yes.
pay for it will be in the budget.
Yeah.
Okay, Councilor Canelson.
Thank you, Mayor Rob. Brandon, reading your report, and I noticed that you addressed the issue that previously the committee had people going around collecting donations. Do you intend to do that this year as well?
Through the mayor to the councillor, I would intend having a donation box there as well for the fireworks that can help support that fund in the future.
What they previously did is people would go around with a hat.
So my thought would be just advertising a donation box that there will be donations accepted. And if people would like to make donations towards the fireworks show, they would be able to either leave it in our donation box or we can set it up so that they can make a payment through our booking software as well.
Good luck.
So are you suggesting that we should still be going around with
I'm
a bucket?
suggesting we should organize volunteers to go around with a hat and collect money. That's always been very successful in the past. I don't, you've been there, I've been there, and that's what they do. And when people are approached, it's hard to say no, but when you ask them to come to a box, it's a little bit more challenging.
Certainly, if that's the direction, we can make that happen. So.
Okay. And I think you'd be a great person to start that, being the
Well,
representative from.
And you know,
Ward five.
I'm not saying no to that. I was actually thinking all of council should go around with a hat.
I think that's a great idea.
Yes.
I'm just waiting to see Councillor Nerda nod her head. Oh, she got a thumb up. Okay, perfect. Two thumbs up.
Councillor Nerd, I have a very big hat for you.
Okay. Any other comments on this? I think we've pretty much gone a limit on this, but we have a motion in front of us. Moved by Councillor Irwin, seconded by Councillor Nerda. All in favor? Carried. Thanks, Brandon. I'm glad to see us not lose that event. I know it's well attended and there's a lot of kids at that event. A lot of families, so. Our next, that's all for our reports, correct? Committee reports. Any committees that want to speak on that one? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Roberts.
Councilor Gill.
Lake Huron Water Primary. We just had a short meeting the day after our last council meeting, and it was just some light bookkeeping and tidying up. So it was short and in and out in under 25 minutes.
Okay. ABCA?
Yes, just want to remind everyone that tomorrow is our partnership appreciation dinner at the Ironwood Golf Course. And I'm hopeful if anyone is intending to attend that you had informed ABCA staff that your intention to attend.
Do you have a report from Blue Water at all? Or is there no report right now? No.
Carol, I don't have anything
Okay.
in concrete. It's unraveling type thing, and we will know more by week's end.
Okay, Carolyn?
If I can just add to that, there is some labor relations items going on there with regard to their union. If it does go to a strike situation, staff at the municipality have been looking at options with regards to that so that we can continue to deal with our municipality's garbage in the best way we can. So if things do go in that direction, we'll be keeping the community updated with regards to our actions, and we would update them through obviously our social media, our website, and our signs in our communities, and any other way we can get the word out. But it certainly would change the way we do things, but we'll let the public know if that is necessary.
Okay. Any other committees? Councillor Irwin?
Two notes, one for the clerk, your worship. Councilor Nerda at our last meeting, we discussed her stepping aside from economic development, so perhaps she should be removed. And the local school advisory committee meets tomorrow. The main issue, one of the main issues on the agenda will be discussion of the presentation at Thames Valley District School Board regarding our growth and future schools. When we did this last year, we brought the draft presentation to council before we presented it. If council wishes, we can do that again because the presentation to the school board isn't until April 26th.
Okay. Any questions? Go ahead, Carolyn.
The presentation would be very similar, I would think, to our last. It would have updated numbers to it, and certainly we can put it on a future council agenda, but I think it would be very similar to what you've seen.
Okay. Thank you. Rec committee, policy, fire. Oh, Sarah, go ahead.
Yes, we had our meeting, a short meeting last night. We introduced our new community service manager, Kent, to the committee. And we also received an update on where we were at the Trails project. So far, Approximately $22,000 has been raised, and I know Tracy and the volunteers have been working hard on getting this project up and running. We also discussed our 2024 facilities and received a report on the usage. Our director advises that our facilities performed well in 2024 with lots of rentals at our spaces. We also received an update on our Park Hill Community Center renovations with an expected start date of May of this year with a hopeful completion of September.
Any questions for Councillor Nerda? No? Fire committee? Nothing there. The budget committee. I have to say that we met yesterday morning and the committee felt, and I know that Councillor Nerda wasn't able to attend yesterday morning, but the committee felt that it's ready to go to council for deliberation. And we're looking at a special meeting, and so it's a great time to ask council tonight for April the 3rd. Would 10 o'clock in the morning work for people? Thursday. Yep. Okay. That works. Councillor Nerda, would that work for you? April,
Thursday, April 3rd?
yes, at 10 o'clock?
Yes.
Because that would work out well and staff can be here. We're not doing an evening meeting. And I just want to say before it goes to the council, I want to thank staff for all of their work. It was the first time I think I've ever had one meeting for a budget committee meeting. And it was a great process, and I want to thank Ralph and your team for putting that together and all the staff for their efforts on it. So yeah, I think it's very good budgets coming forward. Go ahead.
If I can just add to that, Your Worship, I also want to thank Ralph and all of staff who were involved. And just add to that, that the budget binders will be provided to council about a week before the budget meeting, which now is set for April the 3rd.
And you really ask that people look at it. We don't want to go through this process in a line by line process by no means. I don't think we have to, but if any have your questions ready sort of thing when we're doing it. Okay. I think that's it for that. Community development, aqua or municipal, anything on the OPP board? Okay. Correspondence, East Ferris standing for Canada. Councillor Irwin?
I'd like to move that we support their position, Your Worship.
Okay, is there a seconder on that? Councillor Nerda seconds. In favor? Carried. Selwyn Township tariff purchasing policies. Councillor Irwin?
I'd like to move that we support this position, Your Worship.
Is there a seconder? Councillor Nerda? Were you two talking before the meeting? In favor? Carried. Other and urgent business, other business? Councillor Keel.
I just have a question, Mayor Rob. Have we had any update as to the status of Craigwood Youth Services, if any activity going on there or occupancy or anything like that?
The short answer is no.
Okay.
We haven't heard anything.
Okay.
And I know there are some people talking about it, but we have not heard from Craigwood on it.
Okay, thank you.
Any other business? No other business? All right, deferred items, previous communication, including Middlesex County Council, planning summary report. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Rob. As you know, you and I have been on council for a number of years, and going through this report, and I'm curious because I see that there's approval for residences in Hungry Hollow. Is anyone here familiar with that? Sam, are you? Do you know anything about it?
No.
Yeah. Yes. On the subdivision condominium, this last slide. Like all the ones I see that are familiar to me, except for the Hungry Hollow one. I don't know what that is.
Okay, I'm trying to look it up too.
Yeah.
We can come back to it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can come back to it. Any other questions on that? Go ahead, Carolyn.
I asked that this be put on the agenda, and I apologize. I'll get back to the council with regards to the Hungry Hollow item, but I just wanted to bring to council's attention the number of applications that are being dealt with by our planner and staff who were involved with reviewing planning applications. We can certainly look at our planning applications in 24 compared to previous years have more than doubled in some cases, and plans of subdivision condominium are also up. So it certainly shows the growth in North Middlesex, but also shows the workload that our staff are handling. And I want to definitely thank Ashley for her tremendous work in this area. I'll say that since she's taken over on this, our files for us, the number of concerns, complaints have dramatically reduced, and yet the applications have also dramatically increased. So I just want to thank her for all of her hard work. I wish she was here to hear it, but I think you can see that she is a very hardworking lady and does a fantastic job for us.
This also though is project she's still working on, correct? In process.
Yes, I mean, there are
So
various,
that's what I-
various types. Of course, this is the end of for the 24 year. And so there's certainly applications that are still ongoing, particularly when you're talking larger applications, plans of subdivision, condominium, and certainly official plan and zoning amendments could be of the same type that can carry on for quite some time. So even though the application may have been made in 1 year, the work doesn't end at the end of that year. It can sometimes go into 2 or 3 years at some points in time.
So yeah, see, so it's still a process type of project. Any other questions on that? Seeing none, the reading of the bylaws. You
My
took the
apologies.
job tonight.
That bylaws 30 of 2025 be read first and second time. And that bylaw 30 of 2025 be read a third and final time.